Hello everyone, here is part 2 of that first video that I sent you. We're still on slope-intercepts, and this is another example. What if I ask you to use the slope and y-intercept to graph the equation negative 2x plus y equal negative 3? The first thing that you have to notice, the first thing it's very important that you need to notice here is that this equation is not in slope-intercept form. Did you notice? It's not. Remember, slope-intercept is y equal to a number next to x plus b, which is a constant. And this is not in that form. So before we try to graph this line, we need to have it in slope-intercept form. So we need to have this y alone on this side of the equal sign, just like we have it here. Y is alone. Then comes the equal sign, and then comes mx plus b. So we need to rearrange this equation and have it look like slope-intercept form. And once we do that, then we will be able to draw this graph. So let's take this equation, negative 2x plus y equal negative 3, which is not in slope-intercept form, and we're going to make it in slope-intercept form. So our first step is isolate y. So that's step number 1. Step number 1 is isolate y. That means solve for y. And to leave y alone here, this negative 2x that's next to y, we need to get rid of it so that y is alone. So how do we do that? This is what we do. Negative 2x plus y is equal to negative 3. Since this is negative 2x, the way I can get rid of that is by adding 2x to each side of the equation. We add 2x. This cancels out. This becomes 0. I've been able to leave y alone on this side. And on the other side, I'm left with 2x minus 3. 2x minus 3. I can't add these together or subtract them because they are not like terms. Okay? And now notice that now my equation is in slope-intercept form. Do you see it? Now I can work with this equation. Step 2, slope is equal to what? Remember, slope is the number in front of the x, so slope is 2. And the y-intercept is negative 3. So I know my y-intercept is at 0, negative 3. Now I can graph this line. 1, 2, 3. Here's my y-intercept. My slope is 2. That means I will rise 1, 2, and I will run 1. Here's my second point. I can go up 2 and run 1. I can go up 2 and run 1. And I can do that forever and ever. But all you need is 2 points. And then we draw this line. There it is. Okay? And remember to draw the arrowheads indicating that this line continues on forever in both directions. Okay, so what's different about this example from the other ones I gave you in the other video is that the equation I gave you is not in slope-intercept form. What form is this in? Do you recognize it? It's in standard form. Remember, standard form was a number times x plus a number times y, in this case that number is 1, is equal to a constant. So this form doesn't help me find the information I need to find, which is this one here. this form doesn't help me find the information I need in order for me to draw this line. So that requires me to change from this standard form into slope-intercept form, and then I'll get my information. Now I want you to try one, and this is the one I want you to try. I want you to try to graph 4x plus y equals -4. And I want you to use slope-intercept. Okay? So you know what that means. That means you have to step 1, isolate y or solve for y like I did here, and automatically you will have your equation in slope-intercept form, and you know what to do from there. Okay, so I want you to hit pause, try this out in your notebook, and when you come back, I will show you what this line and the answer to your practice problem and what this line looks like on the graph. Okay, hit pause. Okay, here is the problem I asked you to do worked out. Notice that the equation that was given is not in slope-intercept form, so I have to isolate y, which is get rid of whatever is next to your y, in this case 4x. And to get rid of 4x, I have to subtract 4x on each side of the equal sign. On this side, that cancels out x. I get y alone on that side, and when I subtract 4x from this side, I get -4x minus 4. So here you have it in slope-intercept form, which is what you wanted because you need some information. Now what information do I get from the slope-intercept form? I get -4 in front of the x, which I know that means that's my slope. Here it is. And I get -4 as my y-intercept. And for this example, my y-intercept is right here at -4, and since my slope is -4, I can't go down 4 because I don't have enough space on my graph, okay? But I do know this trick. Don't be confused by this trick because this will not happen to you. But I'm going to do a little cheat here, which is actually not cheating. I can go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and instead of running to the right, I can run to the left, and I will achieve the same line, okay? But don't be confused by this. This is just me doing it like this on this paper because I don't have any more space, all right? So don't worry about it. This shouldn't be your case. You will be able to plot your y-intercept and go down 4 and run 1, and you will still end up with the same line I'm drawing, okay? I'm just doing it because I ran out of space here. But don't worry about it. Okay? There's my line. And remember to draw arrowheads on your line. So your line should be more or less like this. It's pretty steep. Okay, there it is. And that is the answer to your practice problem. Now I have one more example to show you. Let's say I don't give you an equation. So far I've given you the equation and you've graphed the line. What if I give you the line and I ask you to give me the equation? Okay, and that's what we're going to do next. Here's the last example in this video. Now we're going to work backwards. Before, I've given you the equation and asked you to use slope-intercept to find or to draw the graph of that equation. In this example, I give you the graph. Here it is. I give you the graph of a line, and I want you to tell me what the equation for this line is in slope-intercept form. So remember, slope-intercept form looks like this. Y is equal to mx plus b. Now, in order for you to tell me the equation, I need two pieces of information. I need you to look for step 1, I need you to know what the y-intercept is. And that would be the number that goes here. Step 2, I need you to find the slope. And when you find it, that's the number that goes in front of x. And you're done. You have your equation. So let's go ahead and look at our graph and see if we can find the information we need. This is my y-axis right here, right? This vertical axis is my y-axis. Let me bring this up a little bit. There, y-axis. I see that this graph is crashing the y-axis right here. So that is my y-intercept. Where is that happening? Let's see, it's at 1, 2, 3, 4. So at 0, 4, that is my y-intercept, so b will equal 4. And that's the number that I'm going to write. Y is equal to, I'm going to draw a square for my slope times x plus a square, which is where b should go, right? Y is equal to mx plus b. So inside this square and this square is the information I'm looking for. I've already found the y-intercept, so already I know there's a 4 here. Okay? Now let's look for the slope. Remember when we were drawing the graph, we would use the slope to rise and to run. So now this is what I'm going to do. Here's my y-intercept. I'm going to look for another point on this line wherever you want on this line. The important thing is that the point you select, that second point, should be a point that falls right on the intersection of your coordinate graph. You see this here? Where this vertical line and this horizontal line meet right there. This is a good point to choose on the line. This one isn't, because this isn't happening right at where the coordinate graph cross each other. So this is a good point to choose. Another point on this line that I can use that crosses my graph, I don't see any other. All of these points here are not whole numbers, okay? So this point here and this point here, which is the intercept, I can use those 2 points to rise and to run. So to get from this point to this point, I would have to rise 1, 2, 3. So already for my slope, I know my rise is 3, and then I would have to run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I ran 5. So there's my slope, and that's the number that's going to go into that spot. So what is the equation for this line that I gave you in slope-intercept form? The equation is y is equal to 3 over 5 x plus 4. And you're done. Okay? This is your answer. I gave you the line. You looked for the intercept. That's where the graph crashes the y-axis. You plug that number in as your b. Afterwards, you look for a point that is located right at the intersection of where your grid intersects, and in this case this was the only point available, and then you rise and run to reach that other point that you had plotted before, that you had found before, and that's your slope. Okay? And look at this graph. I had another nice point to work with all the way down here. Look at it right here. This would have been a nice point also. So I could use this one to find slope too. I could use it to find slope from here to here. Let's see if it's the same slope. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could also work from this point all the way to this point. I should get the same slope. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. M would be 6, and then you would run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And remember, this fraction can be reduced and it becomes 3 over 5 if you divide by 2 in the numerator and by 2 in the denominator. You would get 3 over 5. So notice your slope doesn't change at all. Okay? So anytime you find a point where the graph hits right at the corner of your coordinate paper, like in this case and here, you can use those points to calculate slope. Now I want you to try one, and I'm going to give you a graph and you find all the information you need and we will discuss it. Okay? Okay, here's your example for you to try. I want you to find the equation in slope-intercept form. Here are the instructions. Find the equation in slope-intercept form given this graph. Okay? I want you to hit pause. I want you to work on it and then come back to see the answer and the worked out problem. So go ahead, do that. Okay, we're back, and this is how we solve and how we find this equation. Okay, the first thing I need to find, remember the slope-intercept form is y is equal to mx plus b. That means I need to fill out two pieces of information. I need to find the slope and I need to find the y-intercept. The easiest thing to find is the y-intercept because you just look at where the graph crashes the y-axis, and that happens right here. Okay? And where is that? That is at -2. So the coordinate for this y-intercept is 0, -2. This -2 here, that's the b in my equation. So I can fill this out right away. So far you have that. The next thing you need to find is your slope. Now remember, to find slope you need to identify 2 points on this graph. And then you can rise and run and find that slope. So how do we get the second point? Well, you look at your line and look for a place where the line hits right at the corner of these squares of your coordinate graph. Okay? Of your coordinate paper, you see how this graph hits right at the corner of that square? This is a good spot. This is a good point to use to find the slope. Now, you can use that one and you can find your slope. Let's look for slope. So how do I get from here to here or from here to here? It doesn't matter. I can rise 2 and run 3, or I can fall 2 and run 3. It doesn't matter. So what is the slope? If I rise 1, 2, slope will be 2 on the top, and the bottom tells me the run. Okay, so let's see. Rise 2, and then we run 1, 2, 3. 3 goes on the bottom. The next thing, be very careful here. Don't stop here. I didn't tell you in the previous example. I'm sorry about that. But notice this slope is a negative slope, so I need to add that to my slope. So remember this step always. So this is -2/3. And there you have your equation. Your equation for this line is equal to -2/3 x plus -2. You're done. Now there are other points on this graph you can use. Look at this one right here. This one was a good point to use, and this one too. Any of those points you can use to find slope, and you can find slope between any 2 points. You could do it between this one and this one, or between this one and this one down here, or this one and this one all the way down here. You're always going to get the same answer. And it's always, in this case, remember the slope is a negative slope, so remember to add that to your equation. Okay, if I do it from this one all the way down here, I want to show you. I am going to fall 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then, okay, I fell 6, so my slope is 6. And I run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I run 9, and since this line is negative, I have a negative slope, and I can reduce this. This will equal negative 2 over 3. So you see, it doesn't matter which 2 points on the line you use to find slope, you will always have the same slope. I hope you got this correct. I will give you more of this for classwork. I'll see you in the next video.